Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So you knew it was only a matter of time before we got to D-Reaper. We're doing an in-depth analysis of this deck, going over card by card. I've played against this deck a decent amount in a lot of big end tournaments, and I've done some testing myself, and we featured a black version at the beginning of the week in our feature match, but now we're going to take a look at the yellow variant, which I'm starting to come around to as maybe being the stronger of the two. Both have their uses, though, in which one could be better potentially. Don't forget, our new memory marker for the month of technically June, at the time of filming this, is Narrowmon. So if you're playing like a yellow hybrid deck or a yellow deck in general, this is a great memory marker for those decks. This is the baby form of Ophanimon and Mastemon, Gatomon. This is Narrowmon. This is handmade out of clay by my wife, hand painted as well. You can find this on our Etsy store, link in the description below. Also there you can find all of our previous memory markers that we featured on the channel, as well as some of our Battle Ready Inc. merch. Alright, so right here I've got the deck pulled up for you guys so you can see the whole thing and kind of see what we're working with and what our overall strategy is, what we have in here, what we're missing. There are some cards that I've chosen not to run. It seems to be the general consensus of a lot of people that the other cards aren't the best, particularly like the Rush one. Like, why use Rush when you have Reaper, you know, that sort of thing. And this is just kind of the general consensus. 18 searchers. I think the sweet spot is 16 at the minimum, 20 at the most. More than 20, it's a little bit unnecessary. Less than 16, you're not going to see enough fast enough. Okay, 18, just right there in that sweet spot. You could drop it down by 2 or increase it by 2, just depending on what you're feeling, really. So for those that aren't familiar with this deck and how it works, is the idea is to get as many searcher inheritables underneath your Digitama here as possible, so you can go into your boss monster, which is your Reaper. And then for every 2 searchers that you have in trash, basically Reaper gets to attack again. Okay, and so the idea is to get 8 or more searchers in trash, so that way you can attack with Reaper enough times to win the game, all in one turn. Okay, and that's basically the ideal goal of the deck. So for starters, we got of course our Mother D-Reaper in here. One of her really cool effects here is when you would play a card with D-Reaper in its traits from your hand, you may reduce its play cost by 1 for each of this Digimon's Digivolution cards. That's really powerful for a lot of this stuff because nothing here Digivolves. It's all on play stuff. So being able to reduce a lot of these play costs down significantly is so crazy in this deck. Now we have our searcher here, which is our main one, of course. You can include up to 50 copies. If you weren't familiar, why we have 18 copies of this card, it's because it's in its text. We can have up to 50 copies. If you don't have another searcher in play, you can reduce the play cost by 2 of this. A big tech against this deck is using stuff like Psychmon that says your opponent can't reduce play cost. So that hits cards like the Searcher, as well as Mother D-Reaper's reduce effect. A lot of people just think Mother D-Reaper's effect, but that also hits every single searcher. Them not being able to play these searchers at a 1 cost is huge. So that's just really major. And then every time you play one, you can draw one. Now you can't attack players with this card because of its text here, but you can attack other Digimon. And so by the point Mother gets several of these searchers underneath her, each one of them gives a 1000 DP buff to all your Digimon, all your D-Reaper Digimon on your side of the field. So your searchers here can get pretty beefy, up to 8 or 9,000 DP, and you can actually swing over your opponent's Digimon that are in play. You just can't attack the player. That's the only drawback. So actually very powerful card. And then, so also I kind of skipped over it, but her once per turn effect is you can take one of your searchers that is on field and or in hand and add it underneath this Digimon as its bottom Digivolution card. So in hand or on field, I think a lot of people skip over that on hand effect, but it's once per turn, so you can't just like play a searcher, absorb, play another searcher for 1, absorb, play another searcher for 1, absorb. You can only absorb with her effect once per turn, but we do have a card that we'll go over that a couple cards that actually add to it and make it a little bit quicker. Next we got Pendulum Feet, which is the actual searcher of the deck, which is kind of awkward because it's not name searcher, but it is your on play reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You can add a card with D-Reaper in its trait, and 1 Searcher among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards on the bottom of the deck in any order. You can actually add 2 Searchers off of this. You can add 1 Searcher for its one effect, and then add a D-Reaper card, which can also be a Searcher. So you can actually add 2 Searchers off this, and at times you need to do that, because there have been times that I've been in that situation. It's like, okay, I've got 1 Searcher, but after this 1 Searcher, I've got nothing else. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 Searchers just so I'm prepared. So we're going to max out on this one, just to dig into your pieces, your combo pieces really fast, as well as like important cards like your Jerrys, your Gatekeepers, your Reapers themselves. Pendulum Feet is like a must-have at 4 of, I think. Next we got Bubbles here at another 4 of. It is a security Digimon, but it doesn't play itself out. It's just its security effect is you may place 1 Searcher from your from in play or from your hand under one of your Mother D-Reapers. So its security effect it's solid. It's not like incredible, but it does allow you to place another Searcher under your Mother D-Reaper, and during your opponent's turn, no less, which can be actually very powerful, because if, say, you go from 5 Searchers to 6 Searchers under Mother D-Reaper, and then a Gatekeeper gets hit in security, that Gatekeeper then becomes live as well. So Bubbles, very powerful. Don't knock Bubbles, okay? And then his on-play effect is you may place 1 Searcher from your in-play or hand under one of your Mother D-Reapers. So you can do that on your own turn. So say you play out the Searcher, absorb it, play out another Searcher, and then play a Bubbles. Then you can force that second Searcher underneath as well. So Bubbles is another one of those, like, I think it's a really good must-have card, just because it speeds up the process of getting more inheritables underneath Mother D-Reaper. Next, we got Jerry, speaking of forcing more Searchers underneath. So 5 play costs, which again, the idea is to reduce these play costs down to like a 3 play cost or less very quickly. And then you may suspend this Digimon to reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Place 1 Searcher among them under one of your Mother D-Reapers as its bottom Digivolution cards. Place the remaining cards on the bottom of the deck. So again, effects like this don't have summoning sickness. You just can't attack the turn you play. So you can play this, immediately suspend her, shove a 3rd Searcher in 1 turn, potentially in combination with the Bubbles underneath the Mother D-Reaper. And when you start doing plays like that, it gets extremely, like, ridiculous at how fast you can bring out your Reaper when you start combining it with lots of effects like this. Now, I do have 2 creep hands in here. This is our blocker for the deck, just to kind of slow down my opponent a little bit. Say I don't want to play a Gatekeeper just yet because it's way too expensive, that 11 cost. I just want to throw down a creep hands to stop something like if my opponent's playing Yellow Hybrid and they're using the Guilmon, like I used, that I topped the event with. You know, they want to get those cheeky little swings in, or you're playing against Beelzemon and they want to swing in with their Impmons, get some nice free security checks, get their Digimon deleted. Don't let them get free checks. Yeah, if they want to attack, get deleted, or draw a bunch of cards, okay, but I'm not going to also let you get a free security check off of it. So I like the creep hands just for those early game, like, slow my opponent down with their rookie shenanigans and getting these cheeky little free checks in. That's what creep hands is in here for, just for a little bit of slowdown of my opponent. Next, I do have 2 Pallets Head in here. This is kind of one that some people like it, some people don't. I think it's kind of important in the mirror match, oddly enough. Also against those people taking in cards like Psychmon, your opponent can't reduce play costs. Like, that's huge. That's a huge counter to this deck. So we need cards like Pallets Head here to take care of that. I mean, literally by turn 1, the Pallets Head can clear those rookies off field. So I think it's important to have at least a couple Pallets Head or Pallades Head, however you want to say it, in the deck. So if you have a Mother D-Reaper in play, you may suspend this Digimon to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP. Also in the mirror match, by the time you're ready to drop Reaper, your opponent might have a Gatekeeper on field online. Gatekeeper in the mirror match is brutal, okay? Stopping your Reaper, I mean, if your Reaper has a single security tank -1, your whole strategy is just out the window. So having Gatekeeper, being able to remove a Gatekeeper is very imperative. So Pallets Head with Mother D-Reaper having 7 inheritables, you know, can start clearing Gatekeepers off field, and I think that's very important to be able to do that. And then speaking of Gatekeeper, this is the true Gatekeeper of all gatekeeping. This card is nuts. So security, you can play this card without battling and without paying its memory cost. So keep in mind this is another one of those without battling, similar to Zwart Defeat. So if you swing in here and your opponent's like, oh, it dies, it hits Gatekeeper. Look at this effect. It says without battling. So even if you swing in with your rookie will survive against Gatekeeper. But on play, if you have a Mother D Reaper in play, recovery +1. That's it. Just if you have one in play, you instantly get recovery +1. It doesn't matter if you have 0 sources under that Mother D Reaper or 15. You still get security attack +1. And then opponent's turn, while you have a Mother D Reaper with 6 or more Digivolution cards in play, all of your opponent's Digimon get security attack -1. And if you have multiple Gatekeepers in play, that stacks. So once it starts stacking, oh man, this deck is such a nuisance to deal with. You put 2 Gatekeepers in play, and your opponent, like, they're resorting to deck out at that point. They want you to deck out before anything else, because like that's their only hope at that point. Gatekeeper, such a powerful card. And you'll notice we have Tactical Retreat in here as well to go with it. We are running the yellow package. Tactical Retreat, place one of your Digimon on top of your security stack face down, trash all the Digivolution cards of that Digimon. 1 play cost to put a Gatekeeper back into your security. Say you hard play Gatekeeper, recovery 1. Play Tactical Retreat, put it in security. Kind of like a recovery. It gets hit out of security because it's a security Digimon. Recover again. Does that not sound just absolutely, utterly insane? Just to repeatedly put Gatekeepers back in. I only have 2 Tactical Retreat in here, but let me tell you, if I could fit 4 in here, I almost would. Like, it's that insane in combination with Gatekeeper. It's just so ridiculous. And then if it gets hit in security, it does have recovery as well, so you don't lose that value if it ends up in security. And 1 play cost. Wow. 1 play cost to basically get recovery 2, because you do the 1 recovery basically off a Tactical Retreat, increasing your security. Then Gatekeeper gets hit out and heals again for another recovery. Yeah, Tactical Retreat is like a recovery 2 for 1 memory in this deck. So stupid. And then we do have the Reaper in here. Has Rush. If you when you want to play this Digimon, if you have you may trash 7 more Digivolution cards from the bottom of one of your Mother D Reapers to set this Digimon's play cost to 0. Now it says set to 0, not reduced to 0. So it does avoid cards like Psychmon, that sort of thing. So keep that in mind. I believe the physical cards are translated, and they have done an errata that says it is replaced, so it becomes a play cost of 0, not reduced to 0. So Rush, 15,000 DP, and remember, as soon as it swings, it's going to get 2 of the Searchers underneath of himself here, so he instantly goes up to 17,000 DP on the first attack. So Wyvern's Breath, any of these other big monstrous things, even if you hit a Reaper in security, a Crimson mode, Susanomon, Blast mode, whatever it is you're hitting, he survives. Okay, he's just off the first check. Okay, and then after that, every swing after that, he gains up another 2. So he just keeps getting stronger and stronger. So when attacking, you may place 2 Searchers from your trash under this Digimon in any order to as its Digivolution cards to unsuspend this Digimon. So yeah, you're just going to repeatedly attack until you win. Now you can, like, some of these guys you can swing in early, right? Like the Bubbles. Once you do the on play of Bubbles, like, Bubbles isn't really doing anything else. Swing it in, crash it in security. Same with Pendulum Feet here. You know, once they do their job, just throw them into the fire, swing them into security. It's fine. That just makes Reaper's job later on a little bit easier, especially if they survive. Because remember, they're going to get these DP buffs that are underneath the Searcher or underneath the Mother. So, you know, they're swinging in for 5,000-6,000 DP. They have a decent chance of surviving. So you can get multiple turns of value out of these guys. So yeah, make sure you just kind of, you know, whittle your opponent away, make Reaper's job a little bit easier. Now for the choice here of going for yellow instead of black, we do have Kari as our memory fixer. I think whatever you do should be some sort of memory gaining tamer, whether that's yellow or black. I did go with the duo tamer in black because if your opponent has 2 Digimons on field, you gain 2, so it doesn't matter if they put you to 1 or 5, you still get to gain more memory, so I really like that one. Kari, though, just felt like a really solid pick for this one, especially with every game you're going to be playing Gatekeeper. Every game you will have Gatekeeper hit the field at least once and you will recover. And then you just get more value out of Kari because you can suspend her and gain another memory. In combination with Tactical Retreat here, again, like you see that value. Kari makes Tactical Retreat free. Now, just think about that. We go back to take it back to what we were talking about. Imagine Recovery 2 for 0 memory. Does that seem fair? Like, does this seem like a fair deck? It just seems so out of this world. So crazy. And then our removal choice, I went with Spiral Masquerade. After actually seeing this card in action, I really see the power of it and why more and more people are going with it. So for each Digimon you have in play, activate the effect below. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP for the turn. So you can spread this out. So you've got 5 Digimon on field. You can put minus 3k on 5 different targets on your opponent's side of the field. So similar to something like Shine Greymon, where you just kind of machine gun down your whole opponent's field. I really like this because it's better than something like Rasenmon, which the DP goes up, but you can only ever target one Digimon. So even if you have a whole bunch of Digiburst away, you can only ever target the one. Whereas this, you can spread it out. So you can do minus 6 here, minus 3 here, minus 9 here, that sort of thing. So we are running 3 removals here in the deck. It's tight, okay? I almost want to run more, but it is a yellow card, so it's difficult to activate. Again, the mirror match can be very difficult. If your opponent sticks multiple Gatekeepers, you will eventually run out of cards to remove them. That's when the Pallet's Head comes in. You got to have the Pallades Head, Pallet's Head, to deal with the Gatekeepers in the mirror match, especially if you run out of Spiral Masquerades. This deck is really good about flooding the field. You can play a Searcher for 1, you can reduce the play cost of something else, and then you can play a 3 cost after that because you have a Memory Fixer on field. So, I mean, you can put 4 bodies on field like that. Super easy, like without any thought, okay? And be able to activate your Spiral Masquerade and take care of a lot of threats on field, whether it be one big threat or a bunch of little threats, whatever the case may be. I really like the versatility of Spiral Masquerade. Originally I was running Ultimate Flare, and then I backed off of Ultimate Flare because it doesn't do anything in the mirror match. Again, dealing with Gatekeeper in the mirror match is very, very annoying. So then I was like, okay, Iron Fisted Onslaught. Well, Iron Fisted Onslaught also doesn't do anything because it's going to target the Mother D Reaper first. So it's good hitting in security when Reaper swings in, Iron Fisted Onslaught does, but it doesn't do anything beyond that because I don't have any control of what it deletes, okay? And that was my shortcomings with Black, is I just didn't have enough control, okay? Iron Fisted Onslaught, very powerful, just doesn't help me. If I need to clear a Gatekeeper off field on my turn, it's going to hit Mother D Reaper and it's just going to, wipe away and not work, okay? Because you can't delete Mother D Reaper with it. So it's very, very frustrating dealing with it. So it worked in security, but that was it. Ultimate Flare was just completely dead in the mirror match, basically. But the Spiral Masquerade and the yellow, the Tactical Retreat, the Kari getting, actually value out of the recovery aspect that we've got going on here. It feels really solid. I mean, I think the yellow is probably the way to go. It's probably the more powerful. There might be something there for red, I don't know if a Delicate Plan works. I think you have to target a red Digimon. But there might be something there with Gaia Force, that sort of thing, because you can target, okay? Having your removal where you can actually target what you want to remove, I think that's very important. I don't think Wyvern's Breath is the way to go because, again, it's not overly useful. It's a very steep memory cost for like a one-time thing on a single Digimon, where Spiral Masquerade, I can get the same impact for half the cost and either still delete something big or delete a whole bunch of things. So I think Spiral Masquerade is the way to go, at least so far in testing here. I do hope this was helpful. If you have any other interesting techs that you really like to work into the deck, definitely put in the comments section below to help myself out learning the deck, as well as helping other people out that are playing against this deck, or just good strategies for dealing with it. I talked about Psychmon several times. That's kind of been my go-to answer for it, besides just running straight up Gaia Force and recovering a bajillion into security.